Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If we could remain standing and remember our men and women, especially this week of Thanksgiving, our men and women in the armed forces. So I want to remind everyone, every once in a while, I pull out the Village of Holland Falls, which was adopted 5-0, of conduct during a public meeting. And I'm not going to read it all, but comments from the public shall be allowed on agenda items at the beginning, and we do allow that. That's on the agenda. At the mayor's sole discretion, comments from the public on non-agenda item topics may be allowed at the end. I always allow that. We're following other boards. I have the planning board here. So, they remind everyone that public comment period is intended for the public to make comments to the board. It is not public questions and answers. So we'll stick with what we adopted. Todd, I want to go off the agenda a little bit, and if you could explain the state of emergency. I've seen folks here are interested in why we did that.
Okay. Mayor and board, the reason behind the state of emergency that was put into place, I believe, by the board on November 16th, 2023, is for threefold. The storm event, obviously, everybody knows about July 9, 2023. We had a 30-day emergency, state of emergency after that, that took place, went through, I guess, August 9th of 2023. There was a further state of emergency that was put into place, I think, on September 29th, based on the actual declaration by the governor that went from September 29th to October 29th. We are working right now with FEMA on a couple different projects that actually require us to still be in a state of emergency, that are Cat B projects. Those are projects that are different things like the actual reservoir, Route 9W dredging, the Road Pond dredging that needs to occur, as well as about 3 or 4 other projects. So my recommendation to the board was to actually put the state of emergency back into place for that, as well as 2 other things, which is the roadways that we're trying to get put into, back into full-blown state of passable, for the lack of a better word, for the winter weather that's coming up. We have roads that were Drew, Rose, Eagle Valley Bridge section. We have Center Street, Webb Lane, and Station Hill. So all those roads we're continuing to work on right now. We'll actually be doing more preparatory work through the remainder of tomorrow and Wednesday, followed by paving on all those roads to complete them out on Monday through probably Thursday of next week. So that work is all being done as well under this, as well as the last thing I had on here, which was the Old Straight Road water main. If you're familiar at all with that and went down there and looked at it, we're getting close to finishing that. The state has had some issues and still has some issues with heights of head wall and end wall and other aspects. We have the actual water line from the village's perspective installed, encased in concrete, pressure tested and disinfected, and that's all approved through the health department. But what we're concerned about right now is it doesn't have enough cover on it with the cold weather that's going on. So we want to be in a position where if there's actually another issue with that we can actually get somebody out there to address it in a timely manner. So that's why the state of emergency, or the declaration of state of emergency was advised to the village board to do that, and then move forward in that manner.
Matt, I'm sorry, Todd, just take a half a minute on this. If we had not done that, when would Drew Road, which was paved last week, and all the other roads that are going to be done before winter, I know winter's here now, but before the plant's closed, when would those roads have been done?
I couldn't tell you exactly, Mayor, but what it would be was some of the different aspects of them, the work that had to take place before then, whether it be up on Drew, there's catch basins, additional piping that had to be added, there was a wall, sidewalks, curbs. All that work would have probably been delayed, which then would have put us in a position where we paved the road, but we'd have to come back in the spring and spend more money to go back and repair those and then repave the road. So what we're trying to do is get everything buttoned up in a 100% manner prior to the end of the year, or prior to the first snowfall, and when the actual asphalt plant shut down.
Todd,
Yes.
so I'll just make a comment. Thank you for explaining for the mayor why you suggested that we have a state of emergency.
Mhm.
Okay, but I think I would like an answer from him as to why we had to do this now when I understand that people needed this declaration when the storm happened, which is July 9th, okay? Everybody understood that. Everybody knew why we had to be in a state of emergency and that declaration was made, right? And it lasts 30 days unless it's rescinded earlier. So it lasted until August 9th, correct? And you were very good, and your company was very good in getting all of the emergency services started. But then August, there was no emergency, it was already done. September, there's no emergency. October, there's no emergency. And then November, all of a sudden, there's an emergency declaration. And I think what people are asking is why all of a sudden there was. I understand what you're saying, that the renovations and the projects are ongoing, winter is coming, but a state of emergency needs to be, comes with it, absolute power for the mayor, right? It gives him absolute power on certain things. And this declaration actually had additions to it, like verbiage that includes village employees, right? Bypassing the procurement policies and having that sole authority just vested in him. So I'd like to know, why did you do that?
The procurement policy, which is here, was followed. I just want everyone to know that. I remember, Todd, you were surprised that the state of emergency had been lifted.
Correct, I thought
And
that
that's
was.
when, and that was the day we gotta get it back, per FEMA. I do not regret the steps that I took, and here's why. We all know winter's coming. I hope, right now, 3/4 of Drew Avenue is done. Browns Hill, as we know it, is not done. Center Street is done. We have to do, again, Browns Hill, Webb Lane, Station Hill across the street, Rose Drive and Eagle Valley Bridge. These streets and bridge would not be done this year unless this emergency was done, which allowed the engineer to get 3 quotes. And then we picked the lowest quote.
That is correct, Mayor. Let me just point out though
Yeah,
as well.
go ahead.
is
Point out
for the paving, that's not even the case. The paving is actually the county bid.
Yeah, the county, we took the
So-
lowest bid anyway.
Yeah,
for
you
the
took the lowest
county.
bid anyway, so.
But the sidewalks.
The sidewalks and
And
everything.
there are other little things that had to be done before winter. I will always err on the side of public safety. I've made this speech here, I've made it down in the village hall. When it comes to the police department, when it comes to the ambulance corps, when it comes to the fire trucks, these roads will be open and passable. And they would not have been. They would not have been unless I did what I did. I will always, always go on that side. So if that's as far as I'll always go on that side.
I think there's a lot of
Excuse me, I'm
people here.
answering a question, excuse me. 3 quotes were received,
Right.
and the lowest was awarded.
Correct. And this board actually awarded those
Exactly.
numbers to the contractors, so.
So that was why I did it. I don't regret that I did it. I'm glad I did it. Here's the criticism. You want to give me criticism? I should have done it 2 months ago. I should have done it 2 months ago. But I'll be honest with you, I didn't know until my engineer told me. I remember. In the conference room.
Yeah, we were, just to be point blank, I was very concerned that FEMA was not going to cover some of this work in the manner that it needed to be done. So we wanted to get to a point where FEMA acknowledged the work had the inspections, and actually, at that point,
Todd,
allowed us to
I
move forward.
understand your explanation. I think the explanation we want to hear is from the mayor.
I gave my
Right, so,
explanation, I'm going to
You
move
know,
on.
announcing a local, but nobody's faulting you for announcing a
Oh,
local state of
That's okay,
emergency
that's okay.
July 9
Right.
and 30
Thank
days
you very
thereafter.
much. Thank you.
So, but announcing it really grants extensive authority over acquisitions and contracts, and doing it 4 months after the fact, including directing employees to tasks beyond their job roles or schedule, really raises
How do you know that?
concerns
How
of
do you know that?
excessive control. So
How
it's
do you know
excessive,
that?
it's really excessive control.
I see my
on your
department, I
part.
see my highway superintendent shaking his head no to what
And
you're saying, so
I think
please.
there's a
I
lot
am
of
gonna move on.
suspicion, a lot of suspicion
Well, it
as
comes
to
from
why
you,
would
it comes
you-
from you.
I think there's a
It's
lot of
absolutely,
people
it's absolutely baseless. You understand that word?
It really
baseless.
contradicts the
Next on the
principles
agenda
of
is
what
to pay
America
bills.
stands
May I have a motion to pay, it's $1,384,240.29. There are, most of those bills, I wish I had a better percent, are FEMA, so they'll be reimbursed. A lot of it, most of it. May I have a motion to pay bills?
Make a motion.
Thank you, Gary. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? May I have roll call? I hear one trustee didn't answer.
Trustee Guerrero,
Yes.
Trustee Ramos.
Yes.
Trustee Phillips.
Yes.
Trustee DeSalvo.
Yes.
Mayor D'Onofrio.
Yes, thank you very much. Motion carried. Okay, can we approve? Let's say something over here, Todd and Justin. Thank God, and most of the board members know this, thank God you guys are on board with us. Hundreds of hours we had met with FEMA. Hundreds of hours. And there was one meeting in this room where they said, we should take you, to other municipalities so you can show them how to do it. That's a compliment from a large agency as FEMA. They have been 100% impressed, not 99, 100. Hundreds of hours we've spent. And there's been no photo ops, like the one you wanted up at the reservoir. There's no photo ops. You didn't see my paper in the paper with FEMA,
What are you
even though I was
accusing
with
me
it.
of? What photo
Next
op?
on the agenda. Can we approve the minutes that were written on November the 6th, 2023? It was a regular meeting a couple weeks ago.
So moved.
Motion by Jim. Is there-
Second.
Second by Jim Ramus. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Let's see. Could we approve the transfer of funds for the state retirement contribution from the general contingency fund A1990.1990 to the to the general state retirement fund, A90100800. I know these are a lot of numbers. You put all of this in the minutes, correct? Correct? In the amount of $12,000 in the general contingency fund, A1990-1990 to the police/fire retirement fund, A9015.0800 in the amount of $26,000 from the recommendation of the village treasurer. Confusing, but we have it there. It's a recommendation from the treasurer.
So moved as recommended by the treasurer.
May I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by trustee, Jesus. Yeah.
Thank you.
Don't mind me. Okay, thank you. I love this next one, approve Harmon Wamsley as a member of the Holland Falls Fire Department. He has passed his physical and background check.
You got a call for the vote on that one. You had
Oh,
a
I did
motion
you
and a
vote?
second.
Okay, so we have a first, and Gary, you seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Of the transfer of funds? Opposed? Motion carried. Next, we need to approve the appointment of Harmon Wormsley as a member of the Holland Falls Fire Department. He has passed his physical and background check. He is a cadet at West Point and a firefighter training from West Virginia. So here's a cadet that wants to join the Holland Falls Fire Department.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Jim Rainey, second by Jim DeSalvo, all in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? All right, now I have the last five things on the agenda. And Todd, I'm going to have you help us all along with these because they're all to do with FEMA. So the first one is to approve the proposal from Reventus Construction Company for finishing aluminum wires for the RBCs, influent and excluent, on the west side of the train. The train is 4 of these, in the amount of $12,000.
That is correct. That work is needed to offset damage that occurred on the July 9th storm event with the actual sediment and debris that went through the rotating biological contactors. So it is something that is included within FEMA's damage assessment, and this cost has been vetted with 3 different companies.
Thank you very much. May I have a motion to award this proposal to Reventus?
So moved.
Motion by trustee DeSalvo, second by trustee Ramos, all in favor?
Yes.
May I have roll call?
Trustee Guerrero,
Yes.
trustee Ramos,
Aye.
trustee Phillips.
Yes.
Trustee DeSalvo.
Yes.
Mayor D'Onofrio.
Yes, thank you very much, motion carried. Next one, a proposal from Reventus Construction Company to finish the new gearbox, shaft, and implier to replace a kind Votex grit collector component in the amount of $34,000 and the installation in the amount of $13,125. John, you know what this is, of course.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is the same thing. During the storm event July 9th, the actual grid separation equipment got totally submerged in sediment. And the actual motor itself torqued out, burnt out. The shaft and the impeller actually were both sheared off of the impeller was sheared off of the shaft, and the shaft was bent. So this has also been the damage inventory documented through FEMA, and it will be covered by FEMA expenses.
It's great, it's great.
Does that cover the installation too?
It does.
Okay.
I should say, when I say it's covering by FEMA, up to 75%.
At
Yes,
75%. May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Gary Phillips, is there a second?
Second.
Jim DeSalvo, all in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next one, approve proposal from Reventus Construction Company to pump, haul, dispose of liquid sludge from the digester tank. Lump sum 38,
I would say, correction, Mayor, it's not lump sum. It's 38 cents per gallon.
38 cents, that's what I have, per gallon.
Yeah.
Okay, backboard trailer including operator, 3 laborers, confined space, entry to remove grit and solids. Lump sum $6,210 per day. And dispose of grit and solids. Lump sum of $282 per ton. Price based on prevailing rates.
Correct. So this one's a little differently. We have 2 sludge digesters. There's approximately 50,000 gallons of sludge in each one. They both need to be pumped down to remove the sludge as well as the sediment that got into the system during the storm event on July 9th, 2023. That material's got to come out before you can evaluate the digesters and have FEMA back out to look at them to make sure that they're either working properly or they have damage, and that damage gets documented. So this work has to occur before any of that other work can occur. So we need this to move forward. I would put a budgetary number on this as $120,000 is what this will turn into based on the amount of grit removal and sludge removal. So I would say that that's probably in the range of what this is going to be. This is going to be paid for based on the actual amount that's pulled out.
You guys all right with this?
This is
John?
also 75% covered.
Okay. Can I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Motion by trustee Ramos, seconded by trustee DeSalvo, all in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Next one, approval for the mayor to sign a proposal from Arnold Construction in the amount of $163,500 for FEMA work on Center Street, storm drain lining and proposal for emergency Main Street storm drain lining in the amount of $150,000.
So this one, we'll go one at a time. The Center Street project, what that entails is we've actually already done the actual new storm line within Center Street, and repave Center Street. This one will actually take from the catch basin in Center Street to the east. It actually goes through a building, an alleyway, and out and discharges out to a,
In the backyards of
yeah, backyard's property. So
Down the street.
we have no way of getting in there to actually remove the pipe and put new pipe in. FEMA has already documented the damage. One of the ways of actually fixing this was to go in and expand the pipe with a process that Harold has. They've done similar stuff, similar work for us over the sewer lines and over in Ondiora. But they'll go in, they'll actually expand the pipe, they'll actually pull a new structural sleeve through the pipe, and then do that all the way through. That will complete the relining of the pipe, so we won't have to get into the private properties, houses and whatnot to do that in very tight areas. Be a lot of hand digging if we had to dig it up and replace it that way. So this is actually a lower cost than what it would have been if we actually had to do all the work outright with physically removing the pipe and putting new pipe in.
What's the material they're putting inside that pipe?
There's a piece of it in Village Hall, but it almost turns out to be a very hardened fiberglass.
I have a piece in the Village Hall, it's interesting. I'll put it on the table so you see, it's gray when you see it. It looks like something you could throw away, but I picked up a piece from this side.
Yes.
Once it's fully cured, it's actually considered like a load bearing pipe. It's the equivalent of putting a brand new pipe in the ground. It's just a financially feasible way of doing it because of the conditions. Our pipe has to pass under somebody's foundation, the other pipe is in a area that's roughly 4, maybe 5 feet wide. It's just not realistic to have to try and take that.
Putting that sleeve in there won't cause any restriction.
No, it's actually gonna help, it's gonna,
Smooths over all the joints. It
Oh,
becomes
okay.
one cohesive, they do it as one big, they blow it in like a sock unrolling. So it becomes one continuous pipe, there's no joint connections that fail. It's worked very well on where we've done on the sewer.
and what we're also jumping from, unless there's any other questions on Center, when you look at Main Street, that's gonna be the same thing we're gonna do. If you know where the laundromat is or Chase, across the street, there's a catch basin that's right there on the road that goes from there past the vacant property and down the set of stairs. You got the walkway, down the set of stairs, out across the village parking lot number 1. That's gonna be the same thing, all relined, so we don't have to remove the sidewalk, dig down 8 feet, 6 to 8 feet, to install the new lines. This would be the way to do it, and probably do it for half the cost of what it would be.
The concern with that one is also the proximity of the foundation. There used to be the insurance office.
Warning Hicks.
Yeah.
If we were to dig out that pipe, we would be digging against a stacked stone foundation, which
Good.
becomes a liability.
All right, do I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Trustee Phillips, I have a second.
Second, are we doing the 150 or are we doing the 150 and the 160? 150.
Yeah.
Second.
Second by trustee DeSalvo. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
That was the second one, 160. Okay.
Correct, you gotta do the one for Center Street now. That was for Main Street, this one, 163.5 would be for Center Street.
All right, so you have it there before you, the explanation is the same, for 163,500 for Maine. Yeah. Right?
Correct.
And motion.
So be it.
Trustee Phillips, is there a second?
Second.
Trustee Ramos, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion, roll call.
Trustee Guerrero?
Yes.
Trustee Ramos?
Yes.
Trustee Phillips?
Yes.
Trustee DeSalvo?
Yes.
Mayor DiNapoli?
Yes, motion carries, thank you. Last one, proposal for DeSantis Sons Landscaping in the amount of $36,311.51 for Drew Avenue. Stormwater Plan, Section 2 for asphalt restoration. Anything on that, Todd?
This is not fully for asphalt restoration. This is 3 new catch basins. If you're familiar with the intersection of Drew and Kleitz, there's a head wall there right now. That head wall was overtopped during the storm event with the amount of rainwater coming down off the mountain from the, I don't know what they call those up on top of the ponds up on top at West Point. There,
Missouri.
Zories, there you go, Zories come down through that area. So there's, working with FEMA, we've come up with a plan to actually capture additional water and bring it in a different direction. That water, stormwater right now, heads down Place and comes through, I think there's a couple private properties. comes across West Street, down across Sweezy, onto Schneider, and out to the school property. So we are actually realigning a portion of that to actually take that down through as well. So this work would be to mitigate that issue. Would be pipe, 3 catch basins, as well as the asphalt restoration, which will then be tied into the Drew Avenue area that's gonna get paved. So this has to be done pretty quick, so we get Drew Avenue all squared away with the traffic.
Wouldn't have been done quicker for local emergency. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. DeSalvo, is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Phillips, all in favor?
Yes.
Opposed, motion carries. I want to name trustee DeSalvo. I had a meeting with the school superintendent, school president, Supervisor Livesey was there, and I will name trustee DeSalvo to represent us for all certiorari's going forward. We're losing money, we're being taken advantage of. Key Bank wants $25,000, and they haven't even been in business here in a long time. And these things have been represented in court, usually, I guess, by the town, Bob, or by the school?
Both.
Both. Okay, so now the village will join in, and there'll be a meeting, I believe, with the 3 attorneys, and see how we can move forward. But, Jim, I would like you to represent the village board, because you've been on the board, and you know about it. So if that could go into the records, Lene, I'd appreciate it.
Yes.
I haven't heard anyone talk about the 12.5% from the state to help us with our 25%. I haven't heard anyone talk about it. I called James Scoofus' office. The email back, Mayor, forgive us for the delay. My colleague Matt let me know you were reached out to him regarding the New York State covering a portion of the photo repair cost over and above FEMA 75%. Senator Scoofus will be issuing a letter to the governor this week to make the request. Two years ago, John, I'm sorry to ask you, 2 years ago we started to go to the auction instead of putting an ad in News of the Highlands for a truck or
Right.
something, right? And we've done very well.
Yeah.
And recently we had several items to get rid of surplus because they were no longer needed, maybe they're broke, for different options. 1, 2, 3, 6, it's 12, maybe 15 items. And we get good results, very good results from folks that go on that website from all over the place. So on these items, we were able to take in, we don't have it yet, each person has to pay the auction company, then they give us the money, but it'll end up being $17,150.50. So believe me, that's good. Public comment. Chris, you want to go?
I do,
Talk to her.
thank you.
Your name?
Yeah, Christine McCormick, I'm on Old State Road. I went to Village Hall today to pay my water bill, or actually to ask some questions about it. Usually I just pay the bill. I see the amount and I pay it, I don't look at it. I looked at this and it says current meter activity, previous reading 0, current reading 0, usage 0. And yet they gave me a bill for $142.50, which I have no problem paying, but I would like to know what I'm paying for. Prove to me the water that I used. I was told at first that this happened to many, many people. I don't know if it's a meter issue or whatever the issue is, but I have a problem paying for something where you can't tell me what I use. I was out of state sometimes, and they said, oh, well, the reading is lower, or the amount is lower, which is fine, but I still want to pay for what I used. If it's more, I'll pay more. If it's less, I want to know what I used. So I asked for Joe to come out, and I would like an apology, a public apology. I asked for the mayor to come out, and we were talking about it, and he said, oh, at first I heard it was, not from you, a 3-month, or a 3-cycle.
Five.
First I heard it was 3, that they took 3 cycles and then they averaged it, and that's where my money came out. And then I heard it was 5, so either
I think
way,
it's fine. But either-
that's okay, but either way, tell me what I used. Tell me what I used.
I know, we can't, I don't know how to do that. I will tell you that they take the last 5, they average it out,
Mhm.
and I think you said it, and I appreciate it if you did say it, I think you did, that that's actually lower than the past 5.
That's what I was told, I don't know, all of my stuff floated away in the
I
flood.
actually have the
Which
last 5
thank you,
meetings.
FEMA got nothing for. But that's like a whole, I can't look at my other bills because they all floated away.
I know.
So,
And I don't know that I can give you, well, I don't know
so
how to
how
give you
are
an
we gonna
exact.
figure this out? Does it kind of a wash out in the end?
No, so.
Do we
so-
look at something?
To give you background. Yep. Oh, I don't need to go, I know what you're saying. I want to address, Mayor, if the board's
Yeah,
okay,
go
I'll
ahead.
address it. So, I don't know the exact number, but our meters that were installed in 2007, the batteries that are on them that eventually die off are starting to fade away very slowly. Each year, it's been about 20 of them to 25 that have been shutting down. That doesn't mean the meter's not reading. All that is that sends a cellular service read out to an actual unit that the water department drives by your house and picks up on. So what happens is when that happens, it goes back to the board, or not board, but back to the village staff, the ladies in the office. They get all the readings in, and they have a list, I think it was 62 there this time, that didn't get read. At that point, the village water staff goes out, knocks on the doors, tries to get into the houses to manually read the meters of those properties. If they don't catch you on the right day, or if they don't link up with you, then what they do is an estimated bill, which I believe is the 5 previous bills, and then they send you out what that average is. I did look at, I think your 2 previous bills were over $142.
A question, is it ever gonna be
It
rectified?
will be, it can be rectified tomorrow if you can give us access to the building. They can get in, they can make a manual read, and you might have a higher bill, you might have a lower bill. but
I wanna pay for what I
Understood.
use.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, we're home unless we're working, 24/7, we go nowhere. I go to work, I go home.
Okay.
And you know where I work, I'm a court clerk. You know, somebody could have reached out,
What's
like
your availability
Christine.
tomorrow? I'll give myself.
Well, I'm working, so I get off at 4:30. You know, I've gotta be,
What time do you gotta be in the morning?
I have to leave my house at 7:30 because I take my
Chris,
grandma to school.
what about Wednesday? I'm just going
Well, I work every day,
to 4:30.
yes, that's the job, but, I mean, if you're home early,
Can you get the
work can
meter?
do,
If you get the meter and just flip it up and take a picture of the meter, the reading on it, and just send it
I can
to,
send you that tomorrow.
yeah, just send it to them. That's all we need.
Okay,
If you'd like, after the meeting, see me, I'll take the information, I'll give you my cell phone number.
that would be great.
Just text it to them, and then we'll get a
I
new
will
bill.
pay more if I owe more, I will pay less, but I don't like being given a bill that says usage 0, no meter reading. But then when I go there, and Joe, you were disrespectful.
Well,
You
Chris, I think,
disrespectful.
but I'll
You
let you
walked
go.
away from me.
No,
No,
Go
this
ahead.
could be everybody.
Go ahead.
You walked away from me, you turned your back to me, and I said, don't turn your back on me, it's disrespectful, and you spun around and you said, I had a stroke, and I'm trying to
So
find
that-
something
so
to lean
I love
on.
dirty-
Excuse you,
I love dirty
you
laundry.
said,
I love dirty laundry.
well, no, this is the way you treat your people. This is the
Todd,
way you treat your people.
Todd, you were in the conference.
No, I'm talking to you.
You
You turned your back on me, you spun
I did
around,
not.
and you
I did
said I
not.
had a stroke.
Yeah,
And then you said, I'm just trying to find something to lean on.
that's right.
You had a whole counter to lean on when we were talking
You're
face to
telling me what
face.
counter I should lean on now?
No, I'm
When I
telling you, we were
lost my
talking to the.
when I
Joe,
lost my
stop
balance
it.
and I grabbed
Stop
that
it.
desk.
Stop it, Joe. You
What, did
turned
you
your
see it?
back to me and you
Todd,
were
did you
walking
see it?
away
I thought
like
you
you
saw
treat
that.
many people.
You thought I felt
You
that?
treat many people that way.
All right, thank you. I
You
apologize.
disrespect people and
I
okay,
apologize.
so this is the people, this is what you vote in, folks, this is what you keep getting. And you wonder why you get treated the way you get treated. I want you to know that you're a mayor, that's fantastic, but you work for the people. Do not disrespect the
Don't
people.
holler at me.
No, you hollered at me, it was okay for you to holler at me? Oh, you want to get the police up here? You hollered at me, you screamed at me, Joe.
3 minutes.
Because you did 3 minutes, okay, I'm busy, I'm
Stop
sorry.
it, I'm telling you right now.
Okay, you
Come
But I
are
on,
lost
come
my,
on
I
up.
did need
Come
you.
on up.
I did need you.
Yeah, I can hear you
Stand or
apologize.
not. Come on up.
Thank you. Keep up the minutes.
All right,
So tomorrow, the meeting,
I will talk to you after.
Does she get a new
We'll get your information, we'll get a sheet in tomorrow. And anybody else, if you have
He's on the new vendor meeting side.
And one more question, is my responsibility to call about a meter that doesn't work?
if you get a bill like that, if you could please let us know. 'Cause
But you guys obviously know, because you gave me a bill like this.
Well, we don't skip.
Well, whoever does, somebody knows that my meter isn't working because you did the whole average thing. But I was told that I need to call to get the meter fixed. It's not my responsibility.
we've had some employee issues at the water plant, not having a normal crew number, meaning numbers.
Are you guys gonna hire somebody then? Fix that?
We have and we are, yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Appreciate it, and thank you for the apology, but it's just,
Yeah.
it's nonsense.
I thought it was both of us, and that's okay.
No,
I
I got
almost fell on
upset
my-
when,
I almost-
I got upset when.
I got upset and I almost fell on my butt.
Yeah, they both.
Sorry, he thought I did fall.
You shouldn't have turned your back to me.
My
You
bad.
were walking up the time.
Okay, who else? Go ahead, go ahead. Jesus.
Keep voting, Jesus Christ, that's nice to say out of church.
I don't know where these guys.
You know what, keep voting them in, guys, keep voting them in.
$200,000 a month for nothing.
We need you.
Happy Thanksgiving, all of you guys.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Michael Joyce, member of Village.
Yeah, I remember those.
Thank you.
I just wanted to remember that.
Hang on. You're actually there, you're actually there. Gary,
No, you can't, you gotta ask the
Oh, okay, well, all right, so,
It doesn't.
I was looking at Gary, because, Gary, you're still in charge of the water department.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was looking at Gary, okay? Military, go to the man in charge. I heard something that was a little bit disconcerting as a taxpayer. One was that one or two members, you could verify this, resigned from the water department. And one of them had a license, and I believe we need two licenses. So we're in compliance with the state.
For the county, they just both.
Income.
Yeah, in
Yep.
compliance. And we lost one, right? We
Jack,
wanted the-
Jack Sibley.
Jack Sibley retired, yes.
Yes, so now we're not in compliance.
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
Because we have a company up there that has their license, and two licenses, and we have our part-timer that's working on the weekends with us at 40.
Okay, so, correct me if I'm right or wrong, are we back to paying $2,000 a week because of that company, and we're using their license to be in compliance?
No, we're using that company, because we do
Yeah,
not have.
but are we, as taxpayers, paying the company for the privilege of that license, $2,000 a week?
I'm not too sure what the price is.
It's more than that, but yes, you are.
As a taxpayer,
Temporarily.
yes.
I just put it out there
Yeah.
completely. Temporarily, you're doing that because we have no other option as of right now to do that. I believe trustee DeSalvo can explain, they actually put an offer in to hire somebody, and that came back, they turned it down. So temporarily, that's what's happening. We went out at the last board meeting, which I believe you were at, the village board voted to go out to RFP, which is a request for proposal, to water operating companies, which is out in the paper right now.
Okay.
December 8th, that's due. And at that point, the village board can make a determination whether they hire somebody individually to fill Jack's position, which is still, I think, you still have an opening posted, or they can determine, depending on looking at the costs, if it's better to go to a private company to provide all the services.
Okay, so as of right now, in your expert estimation, how many weeks have we been paying 2,000 plus of taxpayer money?
You've paid it as of today. You paid for 2 days, not last week, but the week before, or a day and a half, and then 1 week last week, and now this will be another week.
So we're close to what, $8,000?
Probably around there, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
I will tell you, we ran the numbers too, just because I wanted to see what they were. We ran the numbers based on having 2 employees plus a part-timer up at the plant
Okay.
for the year, confirmed by the village trustee, the village treasurer, and well, actually both village treasurers, Gina and Ralph. The confirmed number was $338,000 a year was what you're paying for personnel, which included medical benefits, retirement benefits, all the other benefits that go along with it, overtime and Woodman.
I know, but that's ongoing, I mean, that's.
Well, You're not paying that now, though.
Well, we're still paying for the company.
I know, but the
Their
company,
license.
but if you do the math,
I
if
know,
you do the math, you're paying less right now.
I know,
Todd,
but we're
Todd,
just, we're
I'm
just,
sorry, I'm embarrassed to say this, but nobody on the board is answering the question. We don't even have the numbers, we don't have the details, we keep deferring to our engineer contractor for answers. I'm embarrassed that he is fielding all the questions from you guys, the public.
Okay,
Don't you think we should be answering those questions
absolutely.
that you're asking? So Todd, I don't even know how much we're paying this company because we don't have the people who man the water department. We don't have the licenses to have the proper licenses for the water department. How much are we paying per week for this
It's
company?
$5,000 a week is what you're paying.
$5,000 a week,
For 2 operators,
okay?
which is cheaper than what you were paying before, that's what I'm trying to explain.
Well, cheaper than before doesn't make it better,
And we do
right?
have the licenses,
So
right?
5,000
Oh,
a
yeah.
week, so, okay. Let me explain this the way I understand it, right? You need 2 licensed operators to actually not have to pay $5,000 a week.
Yes.
Yeah, but
We had Jack Sibley, right? He retired. We had Pablo Polito, who had a water license, and we had a part-timer who had a water license. However,
What happened?
his water license, according to Steve Gagnon, we cannot use as those 2 legal licenses because he's only part-time.
That is correct, and that's why in
That's
talking
right.
with Steve Gagnon 2 weeks ago, we got an actual letter from him that stated that the village had to do one of 2 things, which is hire a new operator, or they had to go out to a private contractor and bring in 2 operators, which
Correct,
they did.
correct.
They do that at a number of $5,000 a week. But
Yes,
I will tell you that the budget from last year was costing the village for the 2 operators and the part-timers $6,500 a week. So currently, you are paying less for the plant to be operated than you did
so
in the
thank you. So
opposite
this is
way.
like privatizing, right? Privatizing the water,
Correct.
the water plant.
There's an ad in the
So we're
paper.
actually looking at, and
We
I
passed
saw
it.
that
There's an ad in the
actually
paper.
at the last village board
Doesn't mean we're
meeting.
gonna do it,
We're
it's gonna
doing
see what
that.
the numbers are.
So we're
You're
doing
saving
an
money.
exploratory to see if we should privatize the water, which I think there was even talk of privatizing the sewer department at some point a couple of years ago.
Okay.
But what I think, Todd, what I'm hearing you say is that it's looking like the numbers, if we were to privatize, the water department is gonna be cheaper.
I can't guarantee that, we're waiting to see what the proposals come in, but it is, that's why we put it out to RFP to determine if it is cheaper.
Okay, very good, thank you.
And
So,
then we brought
yes,
up last
this is
week.
information that we should have for you, right? Instead of sitting here and then looking at the attorney or the engineer going, can you answer that for us?
This was all discussed last week.
We were, well then why aren't
Okay.
you answering the
Well, Melanie, if you
question?
if
Why
you take a
is-
breath and just chill out a
Why
minute.
is Todd not
All right.
answering all the questions?
Well,
And you know, we went through 5 people that we interviewed, and they did not pan out. So in the long run, which we did not want to do, is we brought it up last meeting that we are looking at going to privatize. No matter how you look at it, we have to pay for clean water. If we can't get people up there to do what we're supposed to be doing the correct way,
They're not trying hard enough.
then we're gonna be SOL, alright? Steve did send us a whole list of names on there, and these are one of the companies that were there. The only reason we went with that company again is because they filled in for Jack Sibley last time when Jack had a lapse in his license. So that's the gist of it, and it looks like we are gonna go privatize because we can't get anybody up here, who's gonna pan out for us, so.
I just have one other question. I heard something else that was concerning. It has to do with person, I'm just going to put it this way because of personnel issues. Person who has a license,
Mhm.
who was told to go home. the police showed up at his door, asked for his keys, and then told him to clean out a locker or something. Now, who on the board told the police to go to a worker, where it should be a supervisor, to ask for the keys? I'm wondering.
You have anything you want to add?
Yeah, I would
Well,
just
we
advise
can't
the board
discuss.
not to comment.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And,
Well, I didn't bring up any names, I didn't mention any names.
yeah, so
okay,
the
thank you.
board spends something.
A little bit of that's true, and a.
No.
Oh, yeah.
It did happen, it did happen.
Mike, not with everything you just said.
No,
Anyway,
with
thank
everything I said, it did happen.
you. Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
When you
Thank you.
speak, make eye contact, when
Thank
you
you.
move around, you know. we
Thank
kinda-
you.
I
Thank
don't wanna miss no.
Okay, yeah.
Good evening, Mayor, Board, President here. Not to put anybody on the spot, and no disrespect at all or anything like that. On the storm that we had in July, there was an incredible amount of damage that was out there. They were talking in the thousands just a few minutes ago, I'm talking to the millions. Okay, that's the damage that we had here in Allen Falls, also down in Fort Montgomery, Bear Mountain, there, West Point, everything else. The curious question that I have, okay, because I would take a guess at this, I don't like saying the word soon, but I would take a guess at it, that FEMA's not around yet to put any checks for anybody. So that money that we have to put out there, I know that the town took out a bond, the piece into the bond as they used it. They don't have to take the whole bond, we're just going to piece into that. For the village, how do we predict we're gonna move forward with this and paying? Because I'm sure that by budget time, FEMA's not gonna say, here's a check for you. So that money has to go up to the contractors and everyone else that's doing projects around. And I know, again, it's an incredible amount of work that has to be done. It's not something that we can put off to the side. It just has to be done. And as the town put out, and as the mayor just said too, it's 75% by FEMA. The state has not stepped up yet with their 12.5%, so that 25% has to be paid by the rest. So I was just curious, are we going to, and Jim, I know this was, are we going to take out a loan, or are we going to take out a bond, or,
Well, you want to answer?
I can.
and if you don't have it, I mean,
No,
I don't want to put you on the spot.
We did take out some money
Yeah, we did pass the 3 different bond resolutions.
at a village board meeting.
At a village board meeting. And we're doing it a little differently than the town did it. Not to say which way is better or worse. But after meeting with bond counsel from Unistat, Noah, who's actually a fantastic representative, who actually has come and given a report to the community and the board before, we're just taking a different approach. We feel that within the next 60 days, we'll have already submitted bills to FEMA for repayment or coming back to 75%. We feel comfortable that it should be several hundred thousands of dollars coming back from the projects that we have completed. And so we should be like on a 60 to 90 day cycle once that first cycle starts. And so what we kind of worked out with Munistat was we have a total of 6 million. It's 1.5, and 2. I'm sorry, 3. So 3 for general, 1.5 for water, 1.5 for sewer. We did have $1 million from our insurance, which we had to put forward, which was required by FEMA to put forward. So in essence, it's really 2, 2, and 3. So we have the money there, and we're doing it basically in tranches. They call the term tranche. I didn't make that up. That's just the way they do it. So we did receive the first tranche to replenish some capital money in general, water, and sewer. And so we'll probably reevaluate as we continue to go down the road. I would say probably by March and April, we might need another
Okay, so-
tranche of cash.
Right, so, and then now to jump up to September 29th, and I do believe that did create some more damage. And Highland Falls on some of the roads that were,
It did, yes,
Okay.
but they're allowing us to include that because the inspections weren't done as of that point. So they're allowing us to include that within the original.
and then as we go now into current, we went into a state of emergency. Does that by any chance let FEMA, can we grab some more money out of that, or, just a question?
No, one of the things the other thing with the state of emergency, which has been told to us by FEMA on a couple of things is, and more so by the state additions, is the state of emergency can also help put some more pressure on potentially other actions that are still pending out there. I don't,
I understand.
yeah, so that there's no additional funding coming in. We're still completing, and from the village standpoint, we still have more inspections to do. So we're actually on our 8th or 9th day of inspections, I think, coming up. Right after Thanksgiving, we have another full day of inspections for additional work that we found right up to the November 7th deadline. So we were able to document damage up to November 7th. That's now closed, that was a 60-day period, and we're still actually doing that inspection work to document. So I guess maybe the answer is yes to what you're asking, but now we're at a closeout.
Okay, and just my final, so for myself, my home got busted out, and there's many others, their homes got busted out. And I heard you mention about lights and all of that, your precautions there, so.
Yeah, mitigation.
With the basins and everything else. Is there any money, I didn't hear you mention anything about, like with the brook, so.
There's,
All right, I'm gonna let Todd say what he would like. I would ask you to come see me.
Okay.
The brook is extremely
I understand.
delicate. I think you'll like what I'm gonna tell you.
But, and then again, I would also like to see though, for the other residents of the community, you know, it's not just us on the brook. There's a lot of other people that got, I mean, you know, precautions there too, whatever, you know, I wish that FEMA would step up and take another ride through this community, because it sort of seems that, you know, no disrespect, but I think they just came in, they saw, I think their reports were absolutely horrible. They were at my house, if 5 minutes. If you all know where I live and what happened to me, how can you be at my house 5 minutes and leave? I was shocked. So I
think that, just to point it out, just so we don't mess it up, I believe you're talking about dishes was at your house, FEMA was probably not here.
no, FEMA was there.
They were, okay, they came later on then?
Yeah, they
So,
were.
okay. Anyway, and actually, can I just answer the question though that you asked was about the brook? We are actually working with the grant company, grant writing companies, Millennium Strategies. There's a brick program that's out there, which is actually a program that's designed for something like that, the brook, the issue with the brook.
You and I spoke about.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we are meeting with them, I believe, on the 27th or 28th. If you'd like to be involved in that discussion, I can let you know, or the village board can let you know. But that's something, or maybe even a couple of representatives along the brook to be involved in that. But we are approaching that grant. We actually believe we have some good standing with that grant because it's actually been discussed with Schumer already, as well as a couple other.
Major politicians involved.
Yeah,
It's called the BRIC program,
It's
BRIC.
funded by FEMA, but it's administered by New York State. But it's for large-scale projects in like the 20 to 40 to 50 million dollars.
Okay, I appreciate it, Jim.
How are you? I do apologize, I live in town. However, we all are part of the town. I'm coming here because when I go to the town meeting, I don't think they want me to bring these things up. However, all of you are my neighbors, I'm here for every one of you, and I really don't care what they think. Nonetheless, my name is Joe Miller, I live in Fort Montgomery. I'm here tonight because, although I am resident of Fort Montgomery, the following issues concern all the citizens in our community, village and town. This is in regards to our current building inspector. I brought this up to a town meeting, but it seems to have fallen on deaf ears, or they somehow believe it's acceptable. I can tell you right now, a lot of you people are going to be very angry when you hear this, because you didn't catch any breaks. However, his father went about doing filling and clear cutting of his property, probably one of the biggest projects that had an environmental impact in our community in quite some time. Well, he didn't say anything. At the same time, he went on to write a bunch of people, stop work orders, you gotta go get engineered drawings. I'm one of those people, this isn't the first time. You have to do all these different things. But Daddy kept going, no problems. Every time that he did that, he broke a law. Now, I'm not sure how this works, but I'm not a lawyer. However, if he didn't stop his father, knowing full well what was going on, and yet he continued to go after other people in the community, I'm not sure. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but is that targeting? And if it's not targeting, please give us, all of us, an answer as to why that's not targeting. Also, I said you gotta fire this guy for doing this. He should be fired. He's not fired. He's not fired. He's still on the job. He's still doing things, going after people for precisely the same damn thing that he is letting his father get away with. He just recently stopped this. Now, if he's not fired, is that collusion? I'm not a lawyer, but I'd like to ask the question. Now, to me, that doesn't seem right. And if it is his dad, I'm not a lawyer, but that nepotism, to me, I don't know, I'm not a lawyer, but I'd like these three things written in a response. Because when I go to that town board, I don't think I have one friendly face on that town board. They don't want to hear this stuff. Furthermore, okay,
Joe, I'm gonna let you keep going, but,
it's getting much gentler now.
no, well, that's okay, but I need you to wrap it up because, again, it's a town issue, not a village issue. But I'm gonna let you go.
Well, no, going, Joe, I apologize. The reason I brought that up, a lot of these people are getting the issue, getting violations from the same guy, and they live in the village.
Okay.
We all live in this community.
Okay.
They're getting it.
You don't have to apologize, I'm the only one that needs to apologize. You're okay. Okay.
Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna leave this part out because this is strictly just the town.
Is it about me?
No.
You got nothing in on me.
No, okay. All right. At the last meeting, for some reason, the volume was shut down. Nobody could hear anything I said. Miraculous. However, during that meeting, somebody was sitting in front of me and they said, we have somebody moving back to Wyatt Green Apartments and they don't have a bed, a hospital bed. So I didn't say anything. It's not my place, and I'm not trying to take credit for something. I'm trying to make a point. So I gave the woman a piece of paper. It said, my name is Joe Miller. Call me. I have a brand new bed. I was going to sell it, but I will give it to this person. They were supposed to move it in on Friday. They did not have the opportunity to do so. So I have nowhere to put this. I had to take it out of where it was. So I called the town garage and I said, hey, this is perfect. I talked to the girl in the garage. She's a sweetheart, very sweet woman. She said, I will ask my boss. She calls me back. She goes, I'm sorry to tell you this. My boss doesn't want to get involved. Really? So their arrogance and their egos go before we do. That's great. I'd love to hear that stuff. I mean, that's a big problem. Anyway, the guy from, he bought the Garrison house. Oh, by the way, he's getting his head ripped off by the building inspector for the same thing that his father did. And he's getting tore apart. Anyway, he gave me a place to store this. Okay, and another thing. I would like to ask the people in this community, from everywhere, that would like to get involved in a little project. That would be to write a history of our community, an entire history of this entire community through all of our records. Now, wouldn't that be neat? We can read every single thing that we've ever done in our community to create this community. And I'd love to get a group of people that would help me do that. We'll use every single record that we own in our community to do that. So soon I'll be asking about that. And last but not least, there's a petition. It's with the Old Oak right now. She was kind enough to let me put it there. And it's for us, only us, every one of us that live in this area. This petition will help all of us so fast, and it'll do so much to make this community better that it's amazing. and it's only for us, the people. It doesn't have any names, it just has an agenda, which is just completely honest. Everybody should be happy with this. And I guess that's
Thanks,
it.
Joe. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you for listening. I apologize that I did that to you.
Anyone else?
I have a question. You didn't answer.
You have to come up here.
You didn't answer this question though. How do we, if we have issues with the building department, how do we go about getting Phil out of office or requesting it, or what do we do with this? I'm a local real estate agent. I have rented properties on Main Street, commercial properties, that are being discriminated against significantly by the building department. Jillian Kelly, my name's Jillian Kelly.
So you're talking about people come, they want to rent.
I rented a place in March. They were trying to open a business in Highland Falls. They're still not open to this day, because every time they try to go to Phil to get something approved, they fix it, and then he finds another problem.
That's the building department.
That's the building
Yeah.
department. And also, they have properties in the city of Newburgh, they have properties all over, between the tenant and the landlord, and they've never experienced what they're going through, and something needs to be done. Our town is the worst I've ever seen it in my life. I've been here for 33 years. And if we can't bring people in and successfully allow them to open businesses, how is our Main Street ever going to recover?
Okay, cool. Have you gone to the town?
I will, I came tonight.
I don't like when I get, you know, you gotta pull this number, then they say you gotta pull this number, you gotta go knock on. I don't like that myself when it happens. I don't think anyone does. And I don't like doing it. But I would like, I'm asking you to go to the town, a town board meeting, or the supervisor's sitting right there. I know Bob, he'll say, come in and see me tomorrow morning or the next morning. But that's up to him. But that's where you need to start.
Okay.
I know of this, I don't know of your specific problem, but I know of this problem. I've heard it before.
I
So,
just think
he will help.
Okay, thank you.
Right, Bob? Yes. Okay.
Oh,
Anyone else?
thank you.
Yes. Did you put your hand up? Okay.
I assume that you're town council?
No.
No, oh, sorry,
You're not the town council.
that's down
Too bad. My name is Rod Wells. I'm not a resident. My mother was a resident for her lifetime. She just died this year at 99. And I'm the trustee of her property, and we own a couple other properties in town. And this is my hometown, near and dear to me. So what happens in it is important to me. Down where the water line is being replaced, the company that's doing it, TAM, is working in concert with Echo Enterprises. Echo's a wonderful company. I've watched the work they do. They've got a tremendous work culture. They do things by the book. They have different specialty teams. They bring in their carpenters, they bring in their excavators, they bring in their masonaries, and they all do things the way they're supposed to do it. I have the occasion to watch everything that happens down there, and I go down almost daily, sometimes 3 or 4 times a day, because not only do I care about the work they're doing, but I was an Army engineer for 13 years, not civil engineer like professional people. I was just a hack. But I did a lot of this work, and I know what it's supposed to look like. The water line is a polyethylene line that's plastic, so it's pliable. It's not like the old steel line that was there. That plastic line depends on all the soil around it to hold its shape. And it's very important that it doesn't have any boulders or rock in the bed of it or on top of it or near it. And it has to have a certain amount of fill on top of it to protect it from the loads on top of it. It has to have a certain amount of bedding on it to stop it from waving in and out. So if you go down to Old State Road, you'll see the temporary line they have there, and it's just laid across the top of the wall, as it should be. They did a decent job on that. But you can see it just follows the contour because it's flexible. Now, that pipe comes from the old line on one side of the culvert that the state put in, and it goes across the top of the culvert, and as they said before, it's been encased in concrete to protect it on the top of the culvert, because it's gonna have traffic on top of it. That encased pipe then is extended past the culvert, and it goes down at a 45-degree angle, and then down another 45-degree angle on the bottom of the bed of the trench. I watched them dig the trench. There are not supposed to be any boulders or rocks down there. It's supposed to have at least 6 to 12 inches of compacted, preferably manufactured sand or something down there, so it's nice and smooth. And then when they backfill, it's supposed to be shoveled underneath it to support the bottom of the pipe. And then on the sides, it's supposed to be compacted. All the way up, it's supposed to have that. The challenge is, that pipe comes in and they weld these joints. Now, when you put plumbing into your house, you use fittings. They heat weld this pipe, they cut it, and they weld it at a 45-degree angle, just almost like you do with the heat gun. Those are very vulnerable places for that pipe. They're probably the most failure places of a pipe installed, other than impingement from rock or poor embedding. That pipe comes off of the angle, goes down the bottom of the trench. The end of it is encased in the concrete, and so now that's cantilevered over the end of the culvert they put in. It's not rebar, it's just got sidewalk reinforcement in it. So that now is just a cantilever pipe over it. That pipe now goes down into the bottom of the ditch. That pipe on the bottom of the ditch is supposed to have a foundation under it. At least very well compacted bedding. It doesn't. So my understanding, engineers can correct me on that.
So basically you're saying, in many ways, it wasn't never.
I think it was
Well,
very...
let us try to answer this, because this could go on a couple hours, and I don't.
No, well, I'm not gonna go on a couple hours.
Okay.
I got a life to live. Besides checking on this,
I don't, okay.
if you want me to stop, I'll
No,
stop.
no, I want my engineer to somewhere answer a little bit
So
of
I
this,
want
and
him to
then maybe
understand-
meet with you.
So, I've met with Justin,
I know you have, I know.
so and I didn't blindside Justin, I told him I was presenting this. Because I think the solution I was offered was that we would have a warranty from TAMS. I think it's important to delineate what the issues are, so that that warranty pre-describes the possible failures. So it's not just some anomalous thing, that there are specific potential failures relative to the installation of the pipe. Now I asked for, I don't know if there are any performance standards. I asked for a copy.
There are performance standards.
Pardon?
There are performance standards, they're covered under AWWA 600.
Right, so that AWA 600
Yeah.
but that was that in the contract?
It was.
I've asked for a copy of the contract, can't get one.
Well, the contract, they are the emergency contractor for Orange County. So when it comes down to a contract, they don't work on a contract, they work on the contract through the county, and the bill comes to us. So when there's, a copy of that contract would be with the county if you want to go review it. One thing I will say though is, I've reviewed your documents, which are great, the pictures are good. The fact of the matter is that you took those pictures at a point when they were testing the pipe, they dropped it in to get the length of it cut, and then they pulled it back out. So if you review our pictures, which
I have that picture.
do you have all these pictures that basically says that everything you just discussed is not correct? I mean, look through those pictures and you tell me how your pictures.
I didn't blindside you, you could have not blindsided me. And I asked for these pictures last
You
week.
said you're there all the time. So these pictures, it happened this week. The work was just done.
So these pictures,
We've had a couple of conversations.
I do want to point out one thing though. We have construction projects going on, it's in the best interest of village residents, town residents, whoever, to stay away from the construction project. I was pretty upset a couple times that you were asked to leave the site by TAM and Echo, but you kept coming back.
no, Echo never asked me to.
Okay.
They were worried that I was gonna see something I shouldn't have seen.
It has nothing to do with, I had an inspector on the job.
Pictures you have-
Are you professional engineers?
I don't need to be a professional engineer and understand the logic of this. This
I got
picture right here
certified
shows
that.
exactly what I'm showing. There's no betting on that. The pictures you're
You
showing
see,
me,
that's a culvert pipe, that's not even a pipe.
I
That's what we
understand,
don't
but
even
you're showing an example of the pipe being put in. That has nothing to do with it.
The pipe is already-
Show me that.
Right there.
That's haunting.
Justin, if you have time this week, if not.
Show me the
next week,
picture, show me under the pipe.
Folks, just to give you an
You
idea.
don't have anything under the pipe.
I have other pictures.
Sir,
Let me see.
sir,
I'm done.
sir.
All I'm asking
I'm
is that
asking
the
is, what are your
council,
credentials? Please, that's what I'm
I
asking.
have pictures, I don't need credentials to show you pictures.
Yeah,
What's
he
supposed to
doesn't.
be there. And I'll show you the
He
AWS
doesn't.
films on training.
He has a
on
valid
how it's
point, it
supposed to
should be
put in.
listened to.
Please don't enter construction sites, everybody, because you almost, there was an issue, you almost got hit one time by somebody, did you
No, I
not?
didn't almost get there. They didn't want me there, and they made any issue they wanted to get me out of there.
Because you're not supposed to be there. It's an unsafe condition, walking into the site every time.
I wasn't walking
Okay,
out.
anyone else?
They have a state inspector, they have a state inspector on that job?
You and I
I'm
both
sorry.
spoke.
They have a
spoke about
state
the
inspector on the job?
So I-
We do, we do.
Not somebody from the town, the state inspector.
There's a state portion and there's our portion.
The state road, they have an inspector, and then off the state road is our inspector.
Well, no, the water portion is ours.
To answer your question, there was a representative from the DOT that was coming to check on the project as it
Yes,
was
state
going forward.
inspector.
There was some questions presented to me about some of the quality of work. We did have an inspector of our own that was on site, and that's what the pictures that I presented to the board, because he was gracious enough to come and see me, present his argument to me, and then I went and investigated it further. Because to be honest with you, with so many projects going on, I'm not on every individual project all day. I have other people that are there in my stead. So what I did is I went and saw him, presented the concerns. He presented me with the pictures showing the bedding around the piping, with the piping laying on the 45-degree angle in a bedding of material. This is that pipe that he's referring to, where it goes off of the cement block here. It's fully covered with compacted stone. Well, stone like that, there's only a certain amount of compacting that it doesn't settle. I apologize, I took the same picture in twice.
All right.
Trying to make copies quickly. Here's another picture of the proper material being put underneath the pipe before it was.
That's on top of the culvert.
Correct.
So you don't put bedding on top of the culvert.
Well, you do when the cement stops here and the pipe proceeds beyond, correct? So we're gonna do. This is the encasement that was done on top of the culvert because we couldn't put enough cover over top of the pipe to protect it, the pipe. So it's encased in concrete to protect it. This shows what it looks like before the cement was poured on, which covers the entire pipe across there and where it begins to dip down. And the view from the other end of the encasement of the piping. That's the bridge itself where we come into the depth of the pipe going to be.
Ma'am?
The picture that they were discussing was, this is the culvert drain for the people's home where the driveway enters.
I think Justin, it's
I hear that.
nobody can really see pictures.
These are available to anybody who wants to see them afterwards. There's also a question about a leak of the home connection. This is the picture showing that there's no leak of the water leaving the pipe to the connection. Now, these were all presented to me by our site, the person that was on the site the entire time while this was on.
That's working under my purview, my signature, my PE license. So please, if there's a construction site going on, don't walk onto the construction site because it can be very, very unsafe. So that's what I would really want to project.
Ma'am?
I figured since we have town supervisor here and the board have an opportunity to speak up. I live on Pelwood Lake Road. I have a drainage issue that I've gone back and forth with, sent multiple emails. I've gone to the town, I've gone to the village, to FOIA, to the history of my road, and I feel like I have kind of exhausted all my options. It's a drainage issue that needs to be addressed. I've now heard from you that you need a copy of my title policy, which anything in there is already public knowledge, or you guys should have on record. Anything on that road should be in a condemnation proceeding when the road was taken over by the village. So I feel like I'm going back and forth, and you guys need to meet with the town, we're here together now, but I'm just asking again, please address it, please do something. I haven't been able to address any of my flood damage yet until I know that something's gonna be done, and I actually spoke with my neighbor Sharon today, which, the part of the yard was taken away. I don't know, 4 or 5 feet was removed at some point, and I think that could be a factor, but
Which portion of the yard are you talking about? The front yard?
the front yard,
Okay.
yes, I think.
Because you had pictures when we met out there, that you had, there was a row of hedges there, there was
Correct,
there was
it
a
used to
curb
be
there,
further
there was
out.
all, yeah, further out, yes.
But I'm just asking now that I have the town supervisor here and the village board, please address it, please do something.
If the board wants us to take a look at it, we've looked at it already, and I provided some information. I know trustee Guerrero was out there with me on the site when we looked at it. I know Gary Boyce showed up during that time as well when we met with you. There's a question whether or not it was installed by the previous owner, installed by the village, or installed by the town. So really, when it comes down to it, is that has to be determined. It is, Spellwood is a town, is a village road as of this point, but we can't determine what the ownership was when it was actually established, and what kind of easements it has to go out through the back side of your property onto the other private property, which is where the stream dumps out of, I'm not sure what the name of the road, the lake, I guess, Elwood Lake, right? Elwood Lake, so on the back side. So that's why we want a copy of the title, so we can determine if there's any discussion in there, and also a discussion about the actual easement that exists on your property that goes back to the pond.
There is nothing additional, I told you that there's nothing additional that's not in the deed, that's not already public.
Okay?
And I want to express again, there need additional drains in the street. The street needs to be maintained. I foiled both the town and the village. There's 0 maintenance records of the street, ever. Ever. I pay taxes. I pay taxes. I feel like we're neglected down there, and I'm gonna keep coming here because it's an issue, it needs to be addressed. And I don't know why I'm talking to you, but it's also you guys too. And I feel like everyone's talking to me tonight. It's you guys that need to work with the town. I gotta keep coming here until something's fixed.
You know,
Thank you. I
Casey,
hope you listen.
it's a lot of money, right, to fix it. I think it's gonna be,
It all depends, the trustee, it depends on what the direction is to go.
that's right. So
Yeah.
it depends, it's like, I think we even talked about it, what the 3 options are. It's still gonna be in the thousands. We're trying to establish whose property it is, whether it's yours or the village's. And I get it, I get what you're saying. There's no record of anything anywhere, right? It appears to me that it is a village property, those are village drains, but we can't establish it. And I think that's where we're stuck, right? So there seems to be tonight, the theme seems to be just around the sense of distrust, right? The public distrusts the leadership. They distrust the rebuilding process. They distrust the building department. They distrust everybody who's working for the village. And what I think it stems from is that there's a lack of distrust from issues within the leadership. You know, it's a perceived lack of trust just flowing from higher authorities down below. But Casey, I get what you're saying. I think we tried to answer that question. I thought it would be in the title. The answer would be in the title report. It sounds like it's not. The village doesn't have any records. The town doesn't have any records. But you have a witness that says the municipality worked on it. So it sounds like it's ours. I'm sorry, Bobby.
No, the witness was Gary Bush, right?
But I want to express, we need more drains on the street. It's not.
We get flooded out too, we're in the same situation, and it's drainage. Speaking of roads and grounds, being that we're on Pelwood Lake and we're kind of neglected, can you tell SB supervisor why they don't come around with the leaves and cleaning the road, the street sweeper? I never see them, never. I see them everywhere else because I walk, but Pelwood Lake is neglected.
and he's sitting right here, isn't he?
Yes. Do we, John,
Can he answer that question, please? Why is he
Yeah,
ignoring us?
I had a couple calls from residents, and recently, I mean, we're going around, remember, there's a whole village that we have to do with the leaves in. So, we've been around a couple times, one time I drove through, there was no piles of leaves out. They're out now, but we have a whole village we have to do with 3 people, so keep that in mind.
Okay, but
And I
like
got a call
Saturday,
today,
you've already been there
from
twice,
your wife,
and you
and I
haven't
said
seen
it
us
should
once.
be by next week.
So before you do them twice, couldn't you come see us at least once?
We went through, there was no leaves down there.
There was no.
There was no
You've had them
pile.
out there for 3 weeks?
Just like she said, there was no, we don't, there's street sweeper, Gary. You talked to me, when was that?
I'll take care of it.
And it was the next day that the street sweeper went through there,
I'll take
so,
care of it.
don't lie.
I
Don't
tell you
lie.
that, you happen to know.
So you did bring up when we were down Bend Road, and I did bring up to John, he did run the street sweeper.
And it was the next day that the
They do
street sweeper
they
was
fill out
down there.
a log every day.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you never ever see the street sweeper. I'm in
Well, you gotta look out your
I walk
window.
everywhere, okay? You don't touch it. He just does it.
Ma'am, what is your first name? Casey, I'm sorry. There's been several meetings, as you know, down at your place. I know I was at a couple, but that was early on, right after the school. I know, Justin, you've been down there, Todd, you've been down there. So, give us till next week, and we're gonna have to figure out what we're gonna do. I don't know if that's gonna be what, you know, what you want or not, but let us meet one more time, and I'm not down there, I don't think we have to go down there anymore, unless we do, but let's figure this out. Maybe there's something to figure out, maybe there isn't, that's all I'm saying to you tonight.
We need additional drains on the street.
Need what?
We need additional drains on
Okay,
the street.
okay. Yes, Sharon?
I had asked last time, at the last meeting, about the hydrants.
Yeah,
Can you-
I believe tomorrow, am I correct?
No, tomorrow, because we have a water leak.
Oh, we have a water leak tomorrow on Cedar,
Yeah.
and then your hydrant. I have 3 hydrants, yours is first. I mean that, I told you that, and I meant it.
That was supposed to be tomorrow, but we have
It was supposed to
a
be
big
It's
water
okay,
leak that we gotta
I
treat.
believe in emergencies, they have to take priority,
Yeah.
but it's been,
Right, and barring another emergency, you're next,
okay,
which means now.
thank
Anyone
you.
else? Okay, Trustee Guerrero?
All right, I have a couple of things. I'm sorry I wasn't at the last village board meetings. I'm surprised that nobody else is getting up for the public speaking part, but I get it. It's an hour and a half already since the board meeting started. So I apologize for not being here at the last village board meeting. I was actually on vacation. I just returned this weekend. But I did watch the board meeting on YouTube, and I have to give clarity on some of the incorrect information that was given to you at that board meeting. Regarding the New York State Office, State Comptroller audits, okay? Mr. DeSalvo here has repeatedly said that he has been on the board a while, said that we don't have an operational budget deficit, that we have healthy finances, that, and I quote, if we don't, the comptrollers would be here in suits faster than I can say them. So, well, guess what? They are. The New York State Office of the Comptroller issued us a letter on October 23rd and informed us that they're on their way. Okay, so they will start an audit. They're going to focus on claims, which is all the checks that the village has issued. And depending on the information they find, they're probably going to make it a full-blown audit, which they will likely do. Another misinformation that was given at the last village board meeting is that the comptroller comes to audit the village all the time, right? They don't, okay? That the last time they were here was June or July. They weren't here, okay? The last time the state comptroller came to the village to do an audit was in 2011. That was 12 years ago, okay? So what they found, a lot of scathing things, They found that our policies and procedures, which is why it's very important to give sole authority to one person, okay? The policies and procedures were lacking, as were the financial management. The board didn't adhere to the purchasing policies. We didn't develop or implement a multi-year financial capital plan. We were borrowing money for the purposes that are usually paid with cash, meaning we're borrowing money to fund our operating costs. It's not proper, okay? Completely improper. That the village, and this was in 2011, was the 40th highest among villages in the entire state for debt. And that was when our debt was less than half of what it is now, okay? The other misinformation, reserve funds. Mr. DeSalvo keeps mentioning to you, we have so much money in reserve funds, $750,000 in reserve funds, okay? Does it make sense to you that you have a $20 million debt? That's 7 zeros after the 2, okay? And have a reserve fund of $750,000, okay? It's illogical. A reserve fund is for equipment and equipment repair, and that's small compared to the substantial debt we're already amassing, okay? So any accountant will be concerned about our financial stability and our ability to cover our obligations. I'll say it again, our operational budget deficits went from $150,000 a year in 2015, the deficits, okay, to run the village, to $1.1 million deficit this fiscal year, okay? And our debt has more than quadrupled. So we need to stop the bleeding, we need to cut spending, we need to cut redundancies. One thing that was mentioned at the last meeting, I do want to thank Mr. D'Onofrio for giving Pat Flynn credit. Okay, he gave him credit for having the foresight in 2015 for the water upgrades in Ondaora and Cragston at a cost of $3.4 million. Okay, that was 2015. He said Ondaora, Cragston, water needs to be upgraded. But both Ondaora and Cragston upgrades would have been $3.4 million. Okay, but as it happened, Mr. D'Onofrio, Mr. DeSalvo, they decided not to push that through when they came on the board. They waited 8 years to move forward. That's 2023, probably 2024. And now that $3.4 million will only pay for upgrades in Ondaora, not Cragston. Okay? And now the interest rate on that $3.4 million debt is 3 times more than what we would have gotten in 2015. So Cragston residents, the rest of the village was having brown water. You're going to have to put up with that for quite a while still.
You gotta let it go because.
So the other, yeah.
It's not
yeah, you have
accurate,
to
but it's
let it
okay.
go.
It's okay.
So someone from Satterley Grove, I didn't know who it was, came at the last board meeting and they came to ask about their stormwater drains. And the answer given is that the engineer is 75% complete with the plans. It's part of phase 2 of the storm drain projects, okay? But what they didn't tell you is that there is no money allocated for that phase, okay? It's probably gonna cost about $2 million, right? And there's hope. So that's gonna be new debt.
That's actually, the Satterley right now is honestly waiting for final approval through FEMA.
Okay, so that's what I'm gonna say. So there's hope that FEMA is gonna cover it, right? But I'm not convinced that that's a legitimate claim because we had known about the problems in Satterley before the storm. So I appreciate the effort though. I appreciate the effort to make it easier for the residents' pockets, for you guys not to have, us not to have to pay it. But I'm certain that defrauding the federal government is not the way to do it. So,
Wow.
lastly,
Wow.
yes.
Wow.
It's the same with your declaration of emergency, okay? It's just not right.
Your opinion,
Lastly,
but the law is.
as part
But the
of
law
my
is.
building department report, okay? And there seems to be a lot of issues about everything. For my building department report, The Town of Highlands Consolidated Planning Board sent a letter to the board about 3 weeks ago, sent it to us, okay? And, you know, the people on the Consolidated Planning Board is made up entirely of village residents. They're asking the village board to really well-reasoned and thoughtful suggestions to change village laws to foster development on Main Street. The current village law, namely the bulk requirement of 2,500 square feet lot. We need 2,500 square feet of lot to build a dwelling, one residence, okay? That requirement has resulted in a de facto moratorium on development. So really, it stops all development on Main Street. No developer is gonna come in and get return on their investment with that kind of requirement. So the planning board has recommended that we change that from 2,500 square feet requirement to 850 square feet requirement. They also sent proposing changing minimum residential living floor areas for efficiency apartments, 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedroom apartments. And I agree with all of that. I really do. Okay, I think that's a long time coming. The village board really should move forward with the planning board recommendations and change the village law as such. Because we need to transform Main Street. It's dead. Main Street is dead. Okay, and we need to capitalize on the revenue potential from the million annual visitors that are coming to West Point. You know, Main Street is not fine the way it is. Mr. D'Onofrio says it is. Mr. DeSalvo at the last board
I'm
meeting
not happy with Main
criticized
Street.
my
I never said
personal
that.
investment.
You know,
He
I don't
criticized my
understand why you
personal
just don't say the
investment.
truth. Amy, you gotta finish. You gotta just say, you're
I'm
almost done with
I'm
lies.
almost done.
Okay, good, I appreciate that. I appreciate it.
He
You
criticized
think I'm happy
my
with Main Street?
Don't speak
You gotta be kidding me.
Okay. He criticized my personal investment in improving 3 dilapidated buildings. Okay, I don't know why that should be criticized. What I say is if you want to make a change, put your money where your mouth is, okay? And stop doing the double talk, take action.
That's how you say
All right, so just one thing, unfortunately, Ms. Guerrero, it says it right here in the letter that we were given from the planning board. You said they wanted the minimum lot area to be 850 square feet. It says right here, the requirements for minimum lot area shall be removed. That's all I have to say on that. I'm not gonna get an argument.
It's all about the truth.
Well,
the problem.
that's the truth. as
Accuracy
written right
kind of
here.
counts.
Give me a moment. I just want to go with the wastewater
You're
treatment.
reading that from. That's not what's
Come on,
said.
move on, Jim.
want to be interrupted.
Move on, Jim.
Number two.
Number 2.
What's it say? Shall be removed.
I'm done with you.
Shall be.
All right, wastewater
No, they're
treatment,
talking about the living space.
it says minimum lot area shall be removed. Can you read?
That's why I
And,
let her go.
did you want the
Wastewater
minimum
treatment
lot
facility, the
requirement?
average volume of wastewater treatment for the month of October was just over 1 million gallons a day. We were lucky because we only had precipitation of less than 6.5 inches, which was good. We are meeting at the wastewater treatment plant all DEC speed permit limitations. Just so everybody knows, Pellwood Lake and the Webb Lane pump stations are working properly. We had the Campbell Fire Protection Company come in, they did their annual inspection for the fire sprinklers down there, and they did any maintenance that was required. The influent pump system controls were reinstalled, and we have a new transducer down there. The automatic grip removal system, which was damaged, is now back in service, which is a good thing. We have great employees down there. One gentleman, Mr. Hurst, was down there 9 days. He's down there, besides doing all of his regular stuff, he's cleaning, scraping, power washing, and painting in the gravity thickener walkway. Something that needs to constantly be done, and he is an amazing worker that we have down there. And they do their regular pump maintenance and lubrication. I try to bring good things. I brought good things at the last meeting, I'm gonna bring good things again. So, happy Brain Day. It was a phenomenal success by Lisa Sibley. On the third Sunday of every month, she has from 12 to 2 at the Mission Center, the old post office in the village, Happy Brain Day. Free bike helmets for the kids, there's activities. If they need a helmet, please come down and get it. If anybody wants to donate a helmet, go down there and give her. She's got a new, for lack of a better term, bookcase. I'm gonna call it helmet case set up. And she's just, that's somebody good doing something good for the village. Also, John and Patrick Flynn, the young kids, they came back from college. They started something a long time ago, and it was for the food pantry. They came back from college. These are local people doing local things, good things. They're not looking for a pat on the back. They're doing local things that are local good. So, they did a good thing. They're down there. They do it every year. You see the brown paper bags. They're on your doorstep. If you can fill them up next year, if you didn't get a chance this year to do it, next year it'll be here before you know it. Also, on December 2nd, it's the Holiday Hop. The Holiday Hop is going to be held by the town Highlands Recreation Department. It's from 8 in the morning till 8 p.m. It's on December 2nd. It's going to be a great event. I just hope everybody can come out and participate in it. And the last thing, again, the holiday parade is going to be on December 16th, and the rec department's taking the lead on that. Just want to give everybody a shout out that is stepping up to the plate, and wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Oh, all right. So I missed somebody. Crafty D. Is she here tonight? I know she comes to some of the meetings. Crafty D.
Here.
Crafty D. You're over there talking.
The hop and the parade.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. That's all I got. Okay?
Well, I will have a better water report next one because, like I said, we have a contractor in there for now. They are doing a very good job. The plant is looking, it's very distinguished looking, let's put it that way. It looks really good, and they're doing a really good, hard job on it. So I'll have that up for you. Yes, and according to Trustee Ramus, the Flynn's, they do a good thing every year. They fill up the bags. And if you didn't hit the bag, you could always drop it off at Pat's house. I talked to Pat the other day. He said, you know, still he'd take donations and they distribute them to the churches. They get set up for Thanksgiving dinner and they get set up for the Christmas dinner. And the other thing is too, just on a good note, I'm trying to ride on Jimmy's coattails over there. It's kind of like a David Muir moment, you know, you hear all this crap in the news and there's some good stuff at the end of it. So this was something that was published on the 11th of November. 7 places to attend school in Orange County, okay? So Fort Montgomery Elementary School, or Fort Montgomery School, its own one, excuse me. They were ranked to have a nice place to go to school, and it was one of the best places to live in Orange County and have a family. The other one was Holland Falls Middle School. So they also were ranked in the top 7 of the county, and it was also one of the better places to live in Orange County. So to the schools, to the parents, to the educators, to the Board of Education, you know, to all the guys doing a good job for the kids at Holland Falls and Fort Montgomery ranked 7th. So thank you, and Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Thank you.
Jim?
Okay. I got a few things to go over real quick, just to clarify some of the things that were said. Quickly on our savings accounts, as I mentioned at the last meeting, we do save with this company called New York Class. A lot of municipalities bank their reserve or savings accounts with these folks. They give a liquid account. Does the town? I think the town has it too. It's popular with many municipalities, and usually most municipalities keep, you know, several hundreds of thousands of dollars in their accounts with New York Class. It is liquid within 24 hours. Either you get on the computer and do a transfer, or you call and you get the money. The statement I keep holding up is actually from January, and we had roughly, 765,000 in reserve accounts. This ranges from DPW, sewer, water, fire department, police department, fire truck reserves, village hall repair reserves. So we did make an additional deposit in those accounts at the end of our fiscal year, which is in May. So we probably are maybe, and with interest that we earn on the account, which is pretty good. I think we're like in the 4.5% to 5% on these accounts, which is very good at taking advantage of the rates now. So we're probably in the neighborhood of 850, somewhere in those lines. But keep in mind, you buy a fire truck, it's $1 million. So, these accounts get wiped out relatively quickly. In regards to borrowing money and the project in Onderdale Park, the project was started under the Flynn administration, but for whatever reason, they authorized it, and either they couldn't get the bond together, they couldn't get the votes together, they couldn't get the momentum together to get the project up and running and started and going. I don't know the reason. I'm not going to, say they did wrong or right. I'm just saying that's what happened, and we ended up doing the project. The Satterley Grove, the drainage comment has morphed as we continue to see that there were issues that created through the flood, the 10 inches of rain that we got in 3 hours approximately. So as we investigated there, more and more of an issue has been found through these constant interviews and constant having FEMA on the site. So it is increasing the amount of money that we're going to have to do it on there at Satterley Grove. This is Satterley Grove now, across the street from Onderdale Park. There's no fraud, there's no craziness. Sometimes you get under a road, you get into a catch basin, you don't see it, it's not in front of you until you get in it and investigate. So again, that comment was completely insane. The ability for a municipality to pay back bonds, you actually get a rating. And we get a rating. We get a tier rating for most municipalities our size. And it has like AA, AAA rating, you could have negative AA rating, you could have a B rating, you could have BB rating. So there is a list of bonds that Unistat, who is a major company that the County of Orange uses, I don't know if the town does, I think maybe the town does, but we use them. Lots of municipalities borrow money. They're on this sheet, I know you guys can't see it, but there must be 50 municipalities that borrow money. We're not the lowest interest rate, we're not the highest. Everybody gets a different interest rate based upon their ability to pay and how much borrowing they have to do for projects they're doing in their community. Every municipality borrows money. Cornwall and Hudson, just around the corner, borrows millions of dollars for their water, for their sewer, for whatever they need. A lot of municipalities do it. The town does as well. They just borrow $20 million to do their FEMA project. Not a criticism. It's just what they're doing. So again, don't know what that comment's coming from. Building department and planning board suggestions. We all got the letter from the planning board. I think the suggestions are fantastic. So we're meeting on Saturday, this Saturday at 9, although I wanted 9:30, but we're meeting at 9. And we're going over a bunch of stuff for the master plan, and the suggestions made by the planning board were fantastic. I'm sure they will generate some more questions after that meeting. We'll probably task the planning board with some more information and more suggestions, which I applaud them for one. The budget. We keep saying that we're in an operating deficit. The town board just passed their budget. No criticism to them and their process, but they used almost $600,000 of their fund balance from their account to offset the costs and operations of their budget. It's a normal thing that municipalities do. It's not a criticism. It's a normal thing that they do. They take money from whatever money they have left over from spending and they apply it to the following year. It's not a trick. It's how municipalities run their government. The audits. Let's talk about the audits. I don't know if I said audits all the time, but I don't have a problem with audits. I welcome the audits. From Trustee Guerrero's comments regarding the audit from a while ago, we actually had our specialist there, who was actually one of the owners of Nugent Hauser, gave a whole presentation. I knew exactly where we were. We were in the firehouse. We had a big meeting. There was a lot of folks there. He gave a fantastic presentation. As we get an audit every year, we spend tens of thousands of dollars on an audit. I wish we could take that money and put it towards roads or something, but it's very important that we have the audit, and we had the audit. We just got another letter from the controller's office, and actually, we just completed an audit, which we have an exit interview this week. But we just got another one, that they're coming down again. But the letter's believe me, I've seen letters from the state where they're not nice. It's please and thank you, we'll be in touch. They're gonna come down and they're gonna look at some other stuff. We welcome it. Nobody from the board fights it. We want them to come. It's important that we have them. I made a comment about criticize her buildings that she has on Main Street. There was no criticism. What I had said is that if you are investing in Main Street and you are buying multiple buildings, which I think is great because you're spending your money, you're making the building nice, and you're rehabbing a building, that's fantastic. All I was saying was it can't be that bad of a place if you're investing in money here. That's all I said. It was not a criticism of you. I implore you, buy more. Buy more, fix them up, increase the rate roll on there, it's fine. I love it. Let's see, did I cover everything? I'm sorry. Just to go off of what Trustee Phillips said, I again want to thank the schools. I think the football team is doing fantastic. They're moving forward. I can't get over how well they're doing. And I also want to add to the middle school on Mountain Avenue, the Connect program, and I think that they've made a significant stride to help us get our numbers up in that school particularly. And last but not least, you know, it's sad when it's a constant reflection at these meetings that you have to get a breakdown or like a final thought of what we feel the sentiment is in the room. Nobody minds taking criticism up here. I don't, for one. I won't speak for the rest of the members. And if we did something wrong, we should try to fix it and do it right. But to say that there's a sentiment or the you know, smell in the air is a constant, whatever words we want to use from the magic thesaurus, it's just not right. And some of the stuff that we are doing is very good. And some of the stuff we're trying to get accomplished before winter flies with the FEMA projects and all the stuff that happened on July 9th are good. And this competition online about whose road gets paid first, one on Main Street or Drew Avenue or one in the town, like the mentality that people have about which road gets paid first is just insane, that the comments that are being made on Facebook. It is ridiculous that we have to lower ourselves to see who's going to be able to get a road done quicker because they care more. I mean, what kind of insanity is that? On July 9th, when we had the flood, this community came together fantastically with a tragedy. And now here we are, what was it, 14 weeks later?
16 weeks later.
16 weeks later,
This is what we.
and we're in a competition now on what road gets done quicker because
Well, remember, we did 2 roads, you only did 1.
we're using illegal
Really?
funds, they're not using it, this is a conspiracy, this is, I cannot get over it. I just cannot get over it.
16 weeks ago, a lady died.
It's crazy.
I don't get it.
Anyway.
I don't get all the negativity, I just don't. Jim, can you make it quick?
I'm gonna make it real quick. I forgot.
Oh, happy Thanksgiving.
Last night, our police department, right across the street from me, saved somebody's life.
Wow.
They were on the scene in moments. And there was another, they were very busy. So a big shout out to these guys. They're always there for us. Town Highlands, the bus was there. There was another bus that came down. There was so much help there. It was great to see them out there. And Army won. TD.
Okay. And the last thing is our annual AFR, which used to be called an AUD, which is a financial report we sent to the state, was filed. So we had asked for an extension with everything going on, and that has been filed as well.
All right, I'm going to end it with this. It's amazing, this is Thanksgiving week. I don't know how, it doesn't feel like Thanksgiving in this room. It's sad. It's very, very sad. We have positions that we need filled, you know, people retire. Regina Taylor retired as our village clerk. We hired Lene Mazeros in the back. She's doing okay, she's learning, it's a learning process. Gina had to learn. Our treasurer retired. 28 years, I think he was with us. Ralph, he lives in Marlboro, retired. So we went out with RFPs on trying to attract a man or woman to come here to be our treasurer. We had the qualifications, we had the duties. It's just not anyone can take over a treasurer's position in a municipality. There's a lot of work, a lot. And we interviewed. We thought we had someone, he pulled out. You know, we're small, we don't pay what other communities pay. And that's okay. We keep trying to find people. And we always end up finding people. So we found a person. I'm just going to say a person right now. I'm not going to say a man or woman. It doesn't matter. She accepted the job. She's actually doing the job now for another municipality part-time. That's good. She wants full-time, and she's doing the job now that she will do here. And was it at the last meeting we hired her? At the last meeting we hired her. So I just said her. So it's a woman. So here's a text. Now to me a text, I was thinking about a text. Facebook is terrible. I put pictures of cats and dogs on there. Other people put, ugh, it's ugly. But this is a text. So this is like, for me, it's like someone mailed me a letter, somebody handed me a note to read. So here's the text. This concerns one of our village trustees. This is amazing. This is what we're up against. You folks don't know. You see the baloney here. But you don't see the baloney for the next 2 weeks that I have to see, that I have to live through, that these guys, members of the board, have to. Here's the text, or a letter, to me. Well, I don't want to get involved between me and you. Guerrero called up here just before I sent this to you. She spoke to the clerk here, meaning here where the lady works. But basically, she was trying to find out what qualifications and information about me working. And then she said all the sorts of stuff about what's going on down there. I'm adding this, the black cloud over us that you hear every 2 weeks. Then she said sorts of stuff about what's going on down there. That they're and how bad it is, debt-wise, and how they went through 9 treasurers. 9. I've been here 30 years, and I can only tell you 2 part-timers. That's all I can tell you. 9. But that's a continuous exaggeration about everything that is said. Debt-wise, and how you went through 9 treasurers, etc. She was trying to do the scare tactic. That's what it says right there. Is she going to try to have me fired before I even start? I say no. That lady will be here next week. She'll have an office in and where I am, and she's going to be a great treasurer. Thank you, and happy Thanksgiving. And that's shame on you.
Yep.
May I have a, that's exactly what went down, and you should be ashamed of yourself. The lady's lying. I'll take, if you're lying or the lady's lying, I'll take it if you're lying. Go ahead, motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
Motion by.
Second.
Yeah. What do you need on it?
Wow.
What do you need?
No, just wanted to let
There's a
everyone
better
know.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
D, go ahead.
Shame.
Wow,
Come on. You guys, come on.